Okay everyone, so let's get started with our next video. So here, first of all, what we're going to do is spend a couple of minutes dissecting what we did in our first video and then taking it ahead. Now in front of you here, you can see is the same project that I had used in our first video. So I'm just going to copy paste this and just call it session 2. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to dissect this first project and try to see what are some of the things that we could have done wrong. Now this is extremely important because when you are starting off learning something new, you are bound to make mistakes, okay? And I would be lying if I would say that I have never made any mistake when I learned something new, okay? To be honest, when I was first trying to get these kind of programs running, I had a hell of a time, because back in 2012, 2013, when Angular was quite new, there were hardly any resources available, and even a small mistake in your code would make it a nightmare to debug. Okay, so although that is not the case anymore, I would still want to spend a few minutes talking about what are some of the common mistakes one may make and how do we ensure that we correct them properly. So I have made a copy of this first project, and this copy is called session 2. So let's open it. So I have made a copy of this first project, and this copy is called session 2. So let's open it. So let me come in here to the HTML. So as I explained in the first video, this particular HTML file has two important things. Firstly, we have to ensure that the name that we provide for ng app is the name that we have given for our module in this app.js file. If we make any mistake in this name, so that could be one very simple yet sometimes difficult to find error. Another common mistake that people make is they spell the controller wrong. So for example, let's say here you have written home controller with a capital H, and here you write H small by mistake. Okay, so these names are case sensitive and we need to follow a consistent pattern of naming. Now what I like to follow is that I keep the names of controllers in Pascal case. So for example, here you see that in this name H and C both are capital because home and controller both are two different words. So for every different word that you have in the name, you start with a capital letter. And mostly for modules, we keep either totally small case or camel case. Okay. Now coming to this file, another common mistake that people make is when they are saying angular.module, they forget to write this. Now angular.module is a double meaning function. If you say angular.module with just this one argument, that is the name, so in this case Angular assumes that this module was created elsewhere and you simply want to use it by invoking it. So if you write like this, let's see what message we get. So I'm going to go back to this file and let's run it. So here, as I have opened this file in my browser, you can see that our output is not coming. Now let me press the F12 key on my keyboard and let's see what message we are getting. So if you see here, this message is a bit difficult to understand, but let's try to narrow it down. So whenever you get this kind of message, $injector something something, right? So it means that most probably you have asked for something that does not exist. See, in Angular, whenever you ask for something, there is a module known as injector that is ready-made in Angular that finds whatever you are looking for and tries to give it to you. But if it's not able to find it, then it gives this kind of error. Now, let me tell you why this error is not so easy to understand. See, firstly, you can observe that the module name is not written anywhere in this error. But the only clue that we have is the line number. So, app.js line number 1. Now, if we come in here, the only statement in app.js line number 1 is this one. Now, in our first video, we saw that this code was actually working, but I just made this change of removing this particular part of the statement. So let's understand what this means. Whenever you are creating a module, it's natural that this module may depend on some other module. In that case, we mention that module's name over here. For instance, just assume that there is a module called XYZ and we depend on it. So if you mention XYZ like this, that becomes your dependency. So that is the reason for providing this pair of square brackets. Even if you do not have any dependency, you need to provide an empty pair of square brackets. So as you may be aware, in JavaScript, an empty pair of square brackets indicates an empty array. Similarly, whenever you specify values in square brackets, so it means that it's just an array containing multiple items. Now, Angular assumes that a single module may have dependency on multiple modules, and for that reason, we are expected to provide an array. So I hope this is clear to everyone. So this was our error number 3 that could have happened. Now let's talk about error number 4. We discussed that when we were creating this controller, we required scope to send values back to our HTML. Now for a second, suppose I forgot to write this. Let me save this and run this page again. So I come in here and I refresh my page. Now, luckily in this case, this error is much more straightforward to solve. So you can see it is saying scope is not defined. And to be very specific, it is mentioning the line number as well. So if I come back to my code here and I say $scope, so most probably this error will be gone. Let's go there and check. So now we can see that we are getting our output and there is no more error. So to quickly summarize, we have 4 common errors. First is spelling mistakes for ng app and ng controller. Second is that you forget to include in angular.module while creating a module. So this second error is really very important because it's not so easy to understand why it has come. And then we discussed that we forget to include dependencies. Now this applies for both controller as well as the module. Alright. The last point here is forgetting to include a JS file in the HTML. Now, what does that mean? So, let me come over to my HTML and let me just remove this line for a second. And I'll save this file. Let's go back to our browser and run this. Now here, if you see, we purposely forgot to include app.js in our HTML. Now, if you press F12 to see, so here again we have an injector error, and it's telling you that it's not able to find something, right? So please remember that whenever you are getting an injector error, it means that you are looking for something that's not there. So in this case, we were looking for something that is provided by app.js, but since it has not been included in this page, we are not able to find it. So let me once again add that statement which was there before. I save the page. Now I come back here and I refresh. The error is gone. So to summarize, these are 4 common mistakes that people make when they're starting off learning Angular. Okay. So this is pretty much it about this video, and my purpose for this video was mainly to revise on what we learned in the first video and then to build a solid foundation for moving ahead. But for purpose of doing something different, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a couple of small changes in this code just to see how it works. Now, first of all, there is a substitute for this statement. So let's try that. It's called ngbind. We can use this ngbind statement to indicate that we want to connect with message, and by default it is assumed that message is available within scope. Let me just also mention that this is a bit different, and here let's add a different title. Alright, so I come back here and I refresh. So this is what we're doing, and as you can see the output is still same. So just remember that either you can say message like this, or you can say ngbind, give you the same result. So typically ngbind is used to indicate that you want to display some data that's coming in from maybe scope or somewhere similar.